Armand, welcome to the Sunday Afternoon Smokes Lounge, man.
Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Now, I'm going to try and get this right. Groesbeek.
Very close. Yeah, that was very good.
Okay.
We've got the German and the Dutch r, so it's Groesbeek.
Groesbeek.
Very close. Yeah, it's 95% correct, so I'll take it. It's better than 98% of people doing it.
Sure.
Fantastic. Thank you for making the effort.
Hey, man,
That's
I
great.
try to make the effort, try and respect the person and where they're from and what they're about.
That's great.
But it's a pleasure to have you here. We met by pure happenstance several months ago when I was
Correct.
still recording audio only on my patio.
Yes.
And you tagged along with Eddie and Jerry and Duncan and
Correct.
got to take in that episode with them. And I don't know, like, it's one thing to be a guest on a podcast. It's another thing just to be an observer.
Yeah.
You know, is that something that you've done before? Just like hang out and watch somebody record a podcast?
No, never. Back in South Africa, we don't have many podcasts. I think it's a very big American thing. And but it was fun hanging out on the patio, smoking cigars, and seeing what you guys did.
Yeah. Do you listen to many podcasts?
Some, yes, I listen to more audiobooks than podcasts. But to be honest, since I saw the podcast that you guys did, I started listening to a lot more podcasts.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you're listening to Sunday Afternoon Smokes.
I do. I did start listening to them. Yeah, absolutely.
I
did.
appreciate it. That's just a shameless self plug right there. But before we get too far, I like to just let my guests introduce themselves. So take a minute, say as much or as little about yourself as you like, and while you do that, I'll light my cigar, and you feel free. You light yours whenever you're ready.
Thank you, my friend.
Yeah.
Well, my name is Armand Groesbeek. Born and raised South African. So my father was a South African, so was my mother. The Groesbeek family has been in South Africa for a few hundred years.
Okay.
So we proper South Africans. Yeah, we part of the soil there, man. And that's me in a nutshell. It's I think during this discussion we're gonna get more into the who and the what and the why I am, but I'm a father of 3 beautiful daughters. I'm a husband to an amazing, incredible wife. I'm a brother, the youngest, and I'm a son. So that's me. That's the foundation of Armand Groesbeek.
I love your answer. I asked you, and this, I think that people, and of course, I really only, like, I'm an American. I come from an American background. I have an American mindset. So I don't know if it's the same way in South Africa, but if you ask somebody who they are, they tell you what they do for a living. That is not who they are.
Yes, true.
So we have an identity crisis problem, especially when somebody goes through something that's unfortunate and it strips away from them their ability to vocationally do what they do or will do what they used to do, because now they don't know who they are anymore. But what you do has never been who you are. It's been what you do. So you're talking about, I'm a son, I'm a father, I'm a husband, I'm a brother, I'm from the soil of South Africa. It's in my blood. It's who I am. That is the root of Armand. And I love that answer.
Correct. Thank you. I think it's because no matter what venture I do, or entrepreneurship, tattoo artist, musician, doesn't matter what I do, I still remain a father. I still remain a brother, a son, a husband. That is my identity. That's who I am. You know, it doesn't matter what I do outside. I will always be a father, a brother, a son. And that's, I think, my identity.
It is your identity.
100%.
Yeah, I mean, I went through a situation in my life. I was a pastor for 12 years, went through a divorce, sadly, and then, I no longer pastor, and I was so wrapped up in that feeling of that this position was very defining about who I was. After the divorce, I really struggled with, like, who am I? And not feeling worth very much because I couldn't do this thing. And of course, I've kind of reinvented myself, at least in a professional manner, but
Gotcha.
I
Yeah.
figured out who I am,
Yeah.
or at least I was reminded of who I am.
Yes. I love
And
that.
so now it's like, here's who I am, but work-wise, I happen to do this thing.
Correct. I just happen, this father, this husband, this brother, this son just happens to be a tattoo artist or a musician or
Right.
an entrepreneur. We just happen to
Mm-hmm.
do these things. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's deep.
Well,
That's
and
beautiful.
it's because if you live there emotionally and mentally and even philosophically, if you live there, you will never have an identity crisis. Nobody can take away from you the fact that you're a father. Even if God forbid your children pass away before you, you're still a father.
You will stay. Absolutely.
You will always be a son. You will always be a brother. That can never be taken away from you.
Yeah. It's like when you give your heart and your life to Christ, you will always remain his son. Me and a friend of mine back in South Africa, we talk a lot about identity in Christ, who you are and who you are as a child of him. And that's your identity. So no matter what happens or what happens around you or what happens in the world, as long as you know who's your identity and what your identity is, you can never really be lost.
No, you cannot. And that's what I came to remember about myself, that I was performing this role as a pastor, but that's not who I was. Here, like, if you were to ask me who I am, I would say a lot of the same things that you said, but basically it's this: I am a born-again child of God through Jesus Christ. I believe that there's not much good about me personally, and if there's anything good about me at all, it is there because of, one, the work of the Holy Spirit of God and the Scriptures through Christ, and secondly, it was put into me and shaped in me and molded by my parents from the time I was born up until now. And when I received Christ in December of 99, that changed my life. And I'm a man that believes in trying to live a life of humility and kindness and grace and service to people. That's who I am. And I happen to host a podcast.
Yeah, you just happen to host it. And
that's who I am.
And we do still fail sometimes at those things.
Absolutely.
But it doesn't matter, because our identity is not in what we do, and if we fail, that's not our identity. So it's okay to fail sometimes.
Well, you're going to fail.
Yeah, you got it.
There's just no two ways about it. It's totally inevitable. So, man, that's a great starting point. I can talk about, and look, I've got things for us to talk about, but if you want to talk about Jesus for 2 hours, let's do it.
We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
It's always great to talk about him. There's never enough.
No.
And never not the opportunity, never not the time.
Man, I'm picking up what you're putting down, man. You can't. If you understand the gospel, and it's much easier to understand it on the other side once you receive Christ and you become a Christian and you receive the Spirit of God at that moment of salvation, and you're illuminated and things start making sense. Like 1 Corinthians chapter 4, the Apostle Paul writes about how the unbelievers, Satan has blinded their mind.
Yeah.
They cannot see. They don't understand. But on the other side, if God reaches you, and he's trying, when he reaches you, you begin to understand the need you had for Christ. And when you understand what you were and what you were and where you were and what Christ did for you, you can't talk about him enough.
No, and I think unfortunately in today's day and age, people have a misconception about the message that Jesus brought. I see it in the tattoo studio a lot. We get a lot of people, different people in the tattoo studio. We get everyone from doctors, attorneys, pastors, atheists, you name it. We get them all. I don't think there's any religion in my tattoo shop that I haven't had. And one thing that I'll never be ashamed of is to talk about Jesus, ever. I'm Team Jesus, baby, all the way.
All day,
and so
every day.
We always end up talking about three things in the studio, always. And my clients know it. And we talk about Jesus, we talk about conspiracies, and we talk about politics. But Jesus will always be in there. That's the foundation. And no matter, I think that for me became a ministry. So me and my wife back home were praise and worship leaders for many years in church. Up until one morning, God took me aside and he threw my life upside down. And we don't have to get into much detail about it, but I left church. I never set foot in church again. And I'm not saying it's going to happen to everyone, right? But at that point, I realized that for 3 months, I didn't hear God's voice. And I was very confused on why he allowed to happen that one Sunday. Let me tell you what happened, because I think it's important. So I'll never forget this. We were praying outside before we went on stage and play music. And we were praying that the Holy Spirit take lead. That it won't be us as musicians to take lead. And in that moment, God told me that, Armand, this morning, I don't want you guys to play music. I don't want you to touch your instrument. What I need you guys to do this morning is stay quiet and wait for me to speak. Listen. Stay quiet and listen. And I was like, say no more. That's an easy command. And God said, no, it's not that easy. You will see. And now me and God is having a side conversation while everyone is praying. And I was like, what do you mean, God? It's not going to be easy. He was like, test me in this. You are not busy worshiping me. And I was like, what a strange conversation we're having right now. God, like, this is before we do music. Like, I'm not sure what's happening. So I was like, okay, cool. So I went to our pastor and I said to him, I really believe this is what God wants us to do. I really actually know that this is what God wants us to do. His words to me was, Armand, you're going to get on that stage and you're going to do music. And I was like, but no, you're not listening. This is not what God wants us to do. And he was like, Armand, you are going to go on that stage and you are going to lead the music. And in that moment, God said to me, do you see what I mean? You are busy with entertainment. You're not busy with worship.
Mm.
And I was stunned. I was shocked. I didn't know how to respond. So I went on stage and I did the music. And I walked off stage and I got into my car and I left. I didn't stay for the sermon. And then for 3 months, God didn't speak to me. He didn't speak to me. I didn't hear him when I was praying, when I had, just, quiet time in my bedroom. There was just nothing. And one night, I woke up in a dream. Now, what I'm about to tell you, I haven't told to many people.
Well,
this is
sure.
So,
Okay.
Okay. So, one night, I wake up in a dream, and I know I'm in a dream, but I'm surrounded by darkness. It's just me, and I'm surrounded by darkness, and I'm like, so I started praying in my dream, because I know it's a dream. I'm fully conscious of what I'm doing, so I start praying, and I was like, God, where am I? This is a very strange feeling that I'm feeling right now. Where am I? And a whole scene came into play. And it was my cousin, his wife, and his 2 kids. And there were a lot of people around us, eating snack foods, but everyone looked morbid and depressed. And I walked up to him and was like, hey man, what's up? What's going on? And he was like, it's not going well. And I was like, why? What's happening? And he said to me, well, my wife has cancer and the doctor says there's nothing they can do about it. And I still remember I looked at him in this dream and I was like, this is such a strange experience that I'm having right now. And in that moment, God told me, tell them it doesn't matter what the doctors say, she is healed. So that's what I said. I'm like, no matter what the doctor said, she's healed. And I woke up, and I'll never forget, I was lying on my side, and I woke up like this, and I stood up, and I wasn't even tired. Normally when you wake up, you're all sloshed, and you don't know where you are. Yeah, I was wide awake. And it was 4:30 in the morning. It was very early, and I never wake up that early. And I was like, that was so strange. So I stood up, went to the kitchen, made myself a cup of coffee, and I decided, well, I might as well iron my clothes. So before I started ironing my clothes, I messaged my cousin's son. And I was like, hey man, what's up? And he immediately responded that early. I was like, okay. He was like, nothing much, man. How are you? I'm like, dude, is everything okay? He was like, yeah, what's up? I'm like, dude, I had the strangest dream. He was like, what happened? And all I did was, I said to him, is your mom okay? Dude, he called me and he started cussing and he was angry and he was like, who told you? I told my sister not to tell everyone. And he was angry and I was like, dude, hold on. I don't know who told me what. I'll tell you what happened. So I explained to him, I told him the dream. And he started crying and he was like, dude, no one knows this, but my mom has been diagnosed with cancer. And we are going to the doctor today and they're going to schedule her a mastectomy. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you, man. As strange as it is for you, it's strange for me. So that night he called me in tears. This is what happened at the doctor's office. When they got there, they did another test. They did another mammogram. And the doctor came back a while later with the results, and he was confused. He was like, I'll tell you guys straight up, I don't believe in miracles. I don't believe in God. But you are clean, and I don't know why, but there's cavities where the cancer was, but it's smaller, but it's empty. There's nothing there, and I don't know what to tell you. We do not have to do the mastectomy. I double-checked the results. I don't know what to tell you. In that moment, I realized one thing. that God doesn't work the way we think. And I got a whole different perspective about God. And since that day, like, I had a whole different journey with God and how He works, and it has never ever been the same. It's different, but I don't question it. I'm just like, yes, I will go.
That's phenomenal. Isaiah the prophet said, "For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways above your ways, and my thoughts above yours." God operates on a level that we cannot understand or fathom. He does things in a way that you would not do them. Let me tell you a story.
Please do.
I was having this conversation just yesterday. My pastor is apparently having trouble with his septic tank. Okay. And apparently, if the ground is wet or it rains, it gets real smelly out there. I guess it's leaking or something like that. There we go. And so one of his neighbors called DHEC. DHEC, well, you're familiar with DHEC.
Very, yes.
Right, yeah.
Yeah,
Called DHEC on him, right? And so DHEC sends him this notice in the mail about, hey, we've received this report. This is a problem. You're going to have to get this fixed. And, of course, now my pastor is kind of stressed out, like, how much is it going to cost? You know, and of course, it's DHEC. You only have X amount of time to get this done, right? And so immediately, like if that was me or you and any other dude, we're stressing because it's annoying and it's aggravated. And this jerk-faced neighbor that I have caused this problem for me, right? And so he makes an appointment with whoever, and some government worker, some government utility or construction worker. I don't know what they do or who he was, but he comes out to mark some lines at the house designating, you know, where the septic system is. I guess they got to dig. I don't know. Pastor shares the gospel with this guy. This guy receives Christ in my pastor's backyard.
Incredible. Incredible.
And that is the whole thing. Like, what you and I perceive to be irritations and frustrations and problems, God is up there saying, okay, I'm going to use this to get this guy who I'm trying to reach. I'm going to use this problem as you see it to get him to my guy who's pastoring this church so he can share Christ with him, so he can become a Christian and his life and eternity will be forever changed. And that's the problem we see in this cone. And God is up, like Solomon said, when talking about building the temple, right? He said, the heaven and the heaven of heavens cannot contain thee, how much less this house that I have built.
Yeah.
The Bible talks about God is the one that inhabiteth eternity. Like, he is so big, we just cannot comprehend.
We cannot. We are characters in a book trying to find the author of the book in the book.
Sure.
And we can't, because the author of the book,
he's outside of the book.
He's outside of the book. And although he took a part of him and put it in the book, he's not in the book.
Right. He's outside of the book. He's outside of space and time. He's outside of the constraints of natural and you know, natural scientific law. None of that applies to him. In the beginning was God. In the beginning was the Word was with God, and the Word was God.
Correct.
It's John 1, you know. It's phenomenal. I have a question. I have a follow-up question for you.
Please go for it. Yeah, absolutely.
God comes to you on Sunday morning. You're getting ready to lead worship music. He says to you, you're so big. You basically said your focus is off. You're leading worship music, but you're not worshiping, right? More or less.
Well, yeah, God told me we are busy with entertainment, not busy with worship.
Correct.
Correct.
You're
yeah.
performing the function, but the heart's not
Correct.
in the right place. And he says, I don't want you this morning. I don't want you to do this. And so you go to your pastor and you say, this is not what God wants us to do. And you have this back and forth. Armand, you're going on the stage.
Yeah.
You know God doesn't want you to do it, but you did it anyway.
Yes.
Is that the point? No, two questions. Number one, is that the point God stopped speaking to you? Follow up, how did you feel about yourself having, basically, you were disobedient and a message that was very clear to you?
Yes. And yes, so I went on stage knowing that at this point I'm disobeying God.
Ooh, I mean, I've been there.
And for human reasons, because there is a whole congregation
Sure.
waiting to be led into what they think is worship.
Yeah, to be ministered to in song.
And in that moment, doing it, I can promise you I did it with a very heavy heart.
Mm.
And I think that, and I can't answer for God, but that might have been one of the biggest reasons he didn't speak to me for 3 months. He was like, Armand, you've got to learn out of your mistakes. And I'll tell you one thing, Chris. That was the last time I didn't listen.
Sure. Are you?
But yes, you are correct.
How familiar are you with the story of King Saul and the prophet Samuel? And are you how familiar?
Pretty familiar, yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the name of the people and the name of the king that the Lord told King Saul to go and slay. All the people, all the men, all the women, all the children, all the sheep, all the cattle,
everything.
It's not.
Yes.
It's not Ahimelech. It's not Abimelech. It's going to drive me nuts.
I know exactly. Right? Yes, yeah. He was supposed to kill.
He's supposed to kill everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And so they go in, and
they keep the good ones.
They keep all the fat cattle, all the fat sheep.
Yes.
Right. And part of it, you know, there's a lot of pressure there because I've got to feed my people, right? As the king, I've got to feed my women. I got to feed my children. I've got to feed these soldiers. And these are very good cattle. These are very good sheep. And they're doing their thing, right? They're getting ready to slay these cattle, the sacrifices. And here comes Samuel. And Samuel says to Saul, "What meaneth this bleating of the sheep I hear?"
Mm.
And then they have a back and forth, right, about his disobedience. And Samuel turns to walk away, and Saul lays hold on his robe, and he grabs it, and a piece of it tears off. And Samuel uses that to say, God has rent the kingdom from you and given it to somebody else, which we know is King David.
Yeah.
And he says to Samuel, he's walking away, King Saul says, "Please sacrifice with me." He said, this is what he said, he's been disobedient. Of course, he had a long history of disobedience, but he's been disobedient. But he makes the statement, he says, "God won't speak to me anymore." when you're telling me that story, it just came to mind. He said, God won't speak to me anymore, sacrifice with me. And Samuel turns to him and says, to hearken is better than sacrifice, and to obey is better than the fat of rams. God doesn't want you to sacrifice. He wants you to obey.
Yeah.
But he wouldn't speak to him anymore. And from that day forward, God was just kind of done with Saul. Now, thankfully, we live in the New Testament, and the Lord has said, I will never leave thee nor forsake thee, Hebrews 13:8. And yeah, man, just whenever you, like, that was just playing in my head when you told me that whole thing, and that I wasn't supposed to do it, and I did it, and God wouldn't talk to me. And wow. So do you remember whenever he started to communicate with you again?
With that dream, that was 3 months.
Okay.
That was. I was like, God has not left me. He has not left me. He started talking to me again, and I was like, cool, okay, I learned my lesson.
Yeah, well, he's not going to leave you. But
No.
here's another. Here's it's this is a great illustration that has helped me in times of difficulty. When you're a kid in grade school, or even in collegiate situations, you have a teacher.
Yeah.
They spend their time teaching you. Regular class days, here's the subject matter. You get to raise your hand. You get to ask questions. You get answers. You get instruction. This is why this matters. Here's how you go from A to B to C, da-da-da-da-da. On test day, no help. The teacher's present,
But
no help.
quiet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in times of difficulty, whether they are allowances of God into your life, these moments where God has allowed things to happen, or maybe they're self-inflicted because you decide, well, I'm just going to do it anyway, when God said plainly, don't do that. Those are the testing moments. It doesn't mean he's not there.
Yes. Yeah.
He's going to prove the character.
Yeah. Yeah, and I learned that in the whole thing about, and especially when you stay obedient, everything will work out for the good for those who love him, right? If I say it correctly in English, everything works out.
Everything works together for good.
For those
who are called of God and love him, yeah.
Correct. And I've seen God's hand this last couple of years in my life, coming to the United States, having to leave again, and all the trials and the hardships. And this time I can honestly say it wasn't by my hand and by my disobedience, but it definitely God shapes character, and he builds character in these times.
Yeah.
And so yeah, that's very true that he does stay quiet sometimes in hard times, because it's test time, And
yeah, I want to see what you've learned.
Yeah, I want to see what you've learned.
But I want to see what's in there. By the way, it was King Agag. I knew it was going to come to me.
Yeah,
I knew it would.
Yeah,
it's test time. I want to know what's in you. Like, if you're a Christian, what is supposed to be in you is Christ, right? That's what's supposed to be in there. If I squeeze an orange,
yes,
orange juice comes out.
Correct.
If I crush a rose petal, a nice fragrance should come out. If I apply pressure to a Christian, the essence of Christ should come out.
Yes.
Not irritation, not wrath, not anger, not malice, not jealousy or envy, or all the fruits of the flesh listed in Galatians 5. The fruit of the Spirit, Christ should come out. So,
and it's sometimes, being human, we have to learn lessons, because sometimes when we get pressured, we do lose focus, right? And we forget who's our identity. And that's, I think, the hardest thing for a child of God, is to understand where the hardships come from. But I don't deserve this. I did everything right. I did everything perfect. Why is this happening to me? Instead of like, this is happening to me, but I will still portray Christ, which is not always the easiest thing to do.
No, absolutely not.
It's a very hard thing to do.
Well, it was hard to go to Calvary.
Yes. You know what? My one friend, we're not friends anymore, but he said something so amazing. He said, if it was about feelings, Christ would have never gone on that cross. Because even he prayed, he said, God, if it's your will, let this cup go past me.
Yeah.
But it's not my will, it's your will be done.
Yeah.
And but it's not about feelings. It's not about
identity in Christ. It will save you. Like identity in Christ and just be obedient. it will save you a lot of trouble.
It will. It will. I love it.
Yeah.
We can talk about this.
Oh man, we can talk about this all night without a doubt. You know, and just some of the things, something you said. I'm just going to dive back into it for a minute, and we'll see where it goes. About identity, I love the parable of what we would call the prodigal son.
Yes.
I think it's a poor word, prodigal, for that passage, but it's not a poor word. We could talk about it.
What does prodigal in English mean?
It means wasteful.
Wasteful.
Which he was.
So in Afrikaans, it's translated into lost. The lost son.
That works.
When it's translated into Afrikaans.
So, he comes to his father and he says, Father, give me the portion of goods that falleth to me, which was a very rude thing for him to do. You don't ask for your inheritance before your father's dead. It's basically saying, I wish you were dead. Give me what? Give me half, right? And so he runs off, and the Bible says he wastes his substance with riotous living, right? He's drinking it up, smoking it up, partying it up. He's got all of his friends. They're hanging. He's paying for drinks for everybody at the bar and renting hotel rooms for everybody. He's just whatever. He's just wasting his money. And then, of course, there comes a famine in the land, and he begins to be in want. He has spent all his money. And by the way, where's all his friends? They're nowhere to be found because they're not really friends.
Correct.
And so he joins himself to a citizen of that country, which was unlawful for him to do because he's a Jew, and he joins with this Gentile pig farmer of all things, right? And he finds himself in the hog pen, and the Bible says he fain would have filled his belly with the husks that the swine did eat. He was so hungry. And the Bible says, and no man gave unto him. But then the Bible says, but he came to himself. I love that phraseology. He came to himself. He woke up. The light bulb went off, man. And he said this, how many of my father's servants have bread enough and to spare? I will arise and go to my father and said to him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee, and am no longer worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. He remembered his identity.
Yeah.
Because he came to himself. He remembered who his father was and what his father had. And for refuge and salvation and to get out of this mess, I have to go back to my father and humble myself.
Yeah. In repentance.
Yeah. But he came to himself and remembered his identity, and it's just that frees me.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yeah.
I mean, I can spend a lot of time on that.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. Because I think it's so relevant to everyone. Because I think all of us at some point in life felt that.
You are him. You are him.
Yes.
He is you. That guy represents the sinner. Yeah. I mean, and the older brother too. And of course, the father represents the father.
Correct.
Why I said prodigal was like the father was, if you're wasteful, that father was wasteful. Who gives their children their inheritance before the time? His son comes home. He says, bring my robe, put it on him, put a
Yeah.
ring on his finger, put shoes on his feet. Let's slay the fatted calf. My son, which was dead, is now alive, which was lost, is now found. We're going to have a feast. How old's your kids?
So I've got a 7, a 7, a 10, and a 22-year-old.
A 22-year-old kid, he runs off, you give him, he runs off, he blows it, he screws up his life, he comes home to Armand, and Armand's like, hey, man, let's celebrate. No father does that.
A good one.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but yes, correct.
That's how God is for the repentant sinner who comes to him humbly and says, I messed up.
Yeah. It's such it's a beautiful parable.
Oh my goodness.
Because I think all of us can identify with that. We like, been there. We are that,
One of my favorite parts of that passage is the very beginning. It's the very first verses in Luke 15. I think it's verse 1 that says, and then this was the power of Christ and his magnetism, because he taught, the Bible says, as authority and as one who had authority and not as the scribes. So the people heard him gladly and weren't talked down to, right? They were ministered to. But verse 1 says, then drew near all the publicans and sinners for to hear him. They leaned in. I want to know what he's got to say. Are we drawing near to Christ? Brother, I am about to just do a hallelujah laugh in here, man. Do it. This is
I love that.
Let's go, man.
That's great.
Yeah. I love Jesus.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yeah. How did you come to Christ?
So both my parents had a interesting and a rough upbringing. So they were worldly people. My father loved alcohol. So did my mum. The people of old, they enjoyed a couple of drinks. But my father was a very strict dad.
Time out really quick. I don't want to sidetrack.
No, go for it.
How's the Sagamore Double Oak?
Fantastic.
Killer.
I'm just taking little sips because it's fantastic.
Sagamore Double Oak. I've got Appleton Estate Rum. You've got a Romeo and Juliet Bully there, and I've got Ferio Tego Timeless Prestige. Great
combo.
Great cigars, great drinks, great conversation.
Love it.
Anyway, so your father and your mother loved to drink, and
they were proper worldly people, shall we say? And I won't go into much detail of my childhood, but it was interesting. But my father was a diesel mechanic. He was a qualified diesel and petrol mechanic. And he worked on a brick manufacturing plant, working on the trucks and stuff. And there was, like he called it, a crazy old guy called Willie. In English, you will call him Willie, right?
Okay, yeah.
And this old gentleman, which my father called a crazy old guy, was a very, very real, sincere child of God. And he used to preach to my dad on this brick plant. And he would always tell my dad, my dad's name was Peter. He was like, Peter, just come to church to me. Just one day. Just come with me. And my father was like, man, I don't want that church nonsense. My father used very hard, crass words.
Sure.
But one day my father said to me and my brother and my mum, get dressed. It was a Sunday morning. He's like, get dressed, we going to church. And I was like, we going to what? So I was about 10 years old, I think. Yeah, I would say 10, 11 years old. I was like, we're going to what? And we went to church, and back in South Africa, we know them as the happy clappies. The people that,
Yeah.
just woo, and, drums and, just the whole band. And my father was just standing in church, like very,
Fish out of water.
oh yeah, he's just like looking at everyone. And me and my brother was like, this is a party, bro. We started just partying together, and my father would slap us. He was like, stand still, keep quiet. And we're like, okay, cool, sorry, my bad. And it was great, because that morning my father gave his heart to Christ.
Amen.
Now, I've only seen my father cried three times in his life. The day he gave his heart to God, the day his father died, and the day I got married. So when my father gave his heart to God, my father smoked cigarettes. He smoked 3 packets of 30 Gunston. I don't know if you guys had Gunston cigarettes here, but it was a very strong cigarette back in South Africa. He used to smoke 3 packets of 30, so 90 cigarettes a day. He would drink a bottle, 2 bottles of rum. My father was a rum guy, so he would drink a bottle to 2 bottles of rum a day. That was his go-to, rum and Coke. And I will never forget it. Red Hot rum was his drink of choice. And we got home, and he threw his alcohol out, and he threw his cigarettes in the trash, and he told my mom, I'm done.
Wow.
And now, for me, I was like, what the hell is going on? My father still disciplined us, like, properly, right?
Sure.
But he changed his ways in a lot of different ways, but he still stayed himself. So, which was weird, because my father was a phenomenal man. And I will always say this, my father, how he was at home, he was at church. He always used rough, vulgar language, even after giving his heart to God. He was a manly man, He was a big guy as well, big hands, just a rough, manly man.
Yeah.
But he had this sincerity about himself and his relationship with God. And seeing how and then eventually my mother stopped drinking, she stopped smoking, and our whole family's life got turned around. When that happened, my mother's sister gave her heart to God, which I never thought was going to happen. My mom's mother, my grandmother, gave her heart to God, and my great-grandmother gave her heart to God as well, and everyone got baptized in the church. And I was like, there was a revival kind of happening in our family. And then I started searching for, what do they have? What is this Jesus that they speak of? And then I would say at about 12 or 13, I really was like, you know what, Jesus, I want to follow you. I'm not sure how to do it, but I'm going to try. I'm going to try my best. So we started going to youth services. I then eventually ended up playing drums, learned how to play drums. My brother is a phenomenal musician and guitar player and a songwriter, and he gave his heart to God, and we actually ministered in youth for many, many years. And that's how the journey started. Now, my brother has a whole journey of himself. Sure. Where he lost his way, and he came back in an incredible manner.
He came to himself.
Oh, yes. And and that's how I came to know God, and just this journey. I never wavered. Although I've sinned, I never wavered in my faith in Jesus and my foundation as him being my Lord and Savior. And although I'm still human and I mess up like everyone does, that's one thing that would never, ever fail or never, ever change. And although I've grown so much, and maybe the some of my old friends will look at my life and they're like, man, you lost the plot completely. I'm like, it's okay. I just learned about a whole different side of God and of Jesus, a whole different side. And it's been an incredible journey ever since. So it's been many years.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll say this, and then we'll probably move on. Church is important, and it's a part of Christianity. Jesus, the church is the organization that he founded, and church is made up of sinful people, so there's always going to be issues there. But the focus of Christianity is Christ, right? That's the focus, right?
Correct.
The church serves a purpose, but it is Christ that in all things he might have the preeminence. That's
agreed.
Colossians chapter 1. So how does the South African son of a diesel mechanic become the owner of House of Holland Tattoo Parlor in Greenville, South Carolina?
How much time do we have, Chris?
You got time?
Okay, so
let's just start with. How about we just start into the journey into the world of tattoos for Armand?
I've done almost every single kind of job that you can think of on this planet. And one day, a very dear, good friend of mine, I love him very dearly. His name is Henny, incredible airbrush artist and draws on pen with pen and pencil. And the funny thing is, we went to the same primary school, so we grew up together. And he used to draw these evil little demon faces in class. And after giving my heart to God, I would tell him, "Oh, you're going to hell, bro. You can't draw that stuff." And then he would draw like these evil faces, and he will show me. He's like, "Hey, Armand, look here." And I'm like, "Oh, man, you're going to hell for those evil drawings." The funny thing is, obviously, when we went to high school, our paths drifted, and I haven't seen him for many, many years. And then in my late 20s, we go to this church, this youth service, and I see Henny there. And I was like, "What are you doing here?" He was like, "You invested and spoke to me about Jesus back in primary school, and it always stuck with me. You always told me that Jesus loves you. You shouldn't draw these things. Jesus loves you, and you're going to hell if you keep on doing the path that you're doing. You should change your ways." And he eventually came to Christ in his own way, gave his heart to God, and he now is the praise and worship leader in the same church that we were. So it's just beautiful how God intertwines paths, right? But anyway,
Unbelievable.
I then convinced him to learn how to tattoo, because I was like, "Bro, you will be an incredible artist." So he went for a course, did an apprenticeship thing, and he was tattooing someone at his house in his living room, a mutual friend of ours. And I'll never forget it. He tattooed this little tribal guitar on this friend of ours, his inner arm. And I was like, "Man, that looks cool to do, man. Like, it looks like hell of a lot of fun." And I was like, "Can I have a go?" And he was like, "Bro, you don't know how to." I'm like, "You can explain to me." So our mutual friend was like, "Yeah, man, just give him a chance. Like, I don't care." So
That's wild.
yeah. I mean, we in a living room, man.
Well, that's just like the whole
yes,
somebody's going to put something on my body that's permanent, and I don't care if this dude's never held a tattoo gun before. Like,
yeah,
like saying,
yeah, let's just go for it. We in the moment.
Yeah.
And we were very good friends as well, the guy that was getting the tattoo done. And so my friend Henny explained to me what to do, what not to do. And while I was tattooing, he was like, "Okay, do this, don't go too deep, do this, blah, blah, blah." And after I color packed this tribal guitar for a bit, I put the machine down, the tattoo machine, and I was like, I looked at Henny and I looked at our friend Hannes, and I was like, I think I know what I want to do with my life.
How old are you at this point?
So I'm 29.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I'm working on conveyor belts on different mines, dolomite mines and coal mines. It's a horrible job, but I'm like,
I bet.
I want to do this. And they're like, dude, you can't even draw. I'm like, I know, but I can learn. I mean, and I'm like, dude, really? I'm like, yeah. So Henny surprises me a week later. He was like, hey, man, I bought you a little tattoo machine kit. It's cheap, but it's a kit. It's got some ink, some needles, very cheaply done in China. But here you go, man. Start your journey. Start learning how to do it. I was like, fantastic.
That gift had to be such a boost of confidence.
100%. The fact that he believed that I could do it. No one really believed. Like, now I'm looking for canvases everywhere. I'm like, you want a tattoo? And they're like, have you tattooed before? No. So no one wants to get tattooed by me. So my brother Peter, I love him dearly.
What's up, Pete?
Sabuta. So he comes to me and he said to me, Armand, tattoo me. I want to be your first tattoo. I was like, are you sure, bro? He was like, yeah, man. So we went to my grandmother's house, sat on her porch, and I tattooed his birthday on his wrist. And I was like, man, I want to do this. I'm pursuing this. So I started, the guy that got the tribal guitar, I tattooed him. Yeah.
How did it look?
Not too bad. It actually still looks great, but I've had many failures after him. So I started tattooing friends. I was in a band as well, and one of our bassists then allowed me and Henny to tattoo on his calf, and that's how it started. And I just pursued this journey. Now I'm still working on the open cast coal mine. On the mines with the conveyor belts. And something dark happened. So I was playing this band. I've been experimenting a little bit with tattoos and stuff, and I get a phone call from my brother saying that my father passed away, got a heart attack. And here's the sad thing. I spoke to my father the same day he passed away. Because of all these, so long story short, my father kind of lost his way a little bit, but still believed in God, but he went a little bit back to alcohol and really went hard at it again. And then he stopped, after many years again, he stopped immediately. Cold turkey. And it messed with his kidneys and his liver, obviously. And so he had to be admitted to hospital. It happened on the Tuesday. He had to be admitted to hospital, and the doctor said to him, you can't just cold turkey alcohol like that. It's very dangerous, so let me keep you in the hospital, observe you, just make sure you're fine. And my father was like, man, let me sign out. Hospital is for sick people. I'm not sick. You know, the typical old man style. So I called my dad and I was like, Dad, you got a medical aid, just, like you guys call it health insurance, just go to the hospital, just relax. You on pension now, just relax. And he said to me, no, I have to look after my pension, I have to stretch it for many years to come. And I called him the Friday and we had a little bit of a talk, and I said to him, Dad, we'll come and visit you the following weekend. Just take it calm. He was like, yeah, I'll take it calm. I'm like, Dad, do yourself a favor. Go buy yourself the motorcycle that you always wanted. Just live life a little, but take it chill, but just live it a little. And he was like, no. I have to, do things a certain way. And that night he passed away. And in that moment, my eyes opened up. I was like, am I going to let my whole life go past me and not take chances? Or am I just going to go pedal to the metal and just run with it? So for a year after that, I had this inner struggle, this inner fight. Am I going to really pursue this? Or am I going to, just have a secure job? What am I going to do? And a year later, I quit my job and I went full-time into tattooing. And it was horrible. It was a horrible failure for 4 years after that, just struggling to pay rent in the shop, just because no one wants to get tattooed by me because I'm still an amateur, etc., etc.
So you opened up a whole shop?
I opened up my own shop. It was a small shop, but I didn't want to tattoo people at my house, right?
Oh, sure.
Yes, and so I got
It's not very professional.
No. Well, period, but I wasn't professional.
But you are professional, but you, perception it makes a big deal. Big deal.
Big deal. And so for a couple of years, it was absolutely horrible. Okay. And I struggled to pay rent and etc., etc. I met a guy came in for a tattoo and we spoke a little bit, and he was a really intelligent businessman. And I was like, hey, man. So after doing a couple of tattoos on him, I was like, hey, man, like, I need some advice. I don't know how to run a business. I barely know how to tattoo. Like, can you give me advice? He was like, first of all, get your skill right. Number one. And number two, this and this and this is how you should run a business. And how you're doing it is, I hate to say it, but it's wrong. And so he kind of helped me and guided me, and I then eventually met a friend, a guy that I entrusted to tattoo me, like, after I got a couple of tattoos. And he actually was the one that taught me how to become a great tattoo artist, or a good tattoo artist at least, because I won't say I'm great, I'm good. And his name is Jacques. He's a phenomenal tattoo artist, and he kind of guided me. And that's how my journey kind of started picking up. Well, in 2017, I got invited to a tattoo convention in Holland. And when I got the invitation, I went to my wife. I was like, babe, like, look at this. Like, I got an invitation to go to a convention in Holland, of all places. And so we decided to go.
This convention,
Yes.
is it like by invite only? Or-
Yeah. So they did an invite only, and I don't know how they came across my Instagram profile, because I wasn't a good artist even back then. But again, I can see God's hand in it now, right?
Well, sure.
100%. So, and here's what happened. So my last name is Groesbeek. So we actually Dutch descent, right? My forefathers back in the day, before they went to South Africa, they were in Holland. Now, in Holland, there's a town called Groesbeek, which was founded by our great parents 900 years ago.
Wow.
So one of my clients that I was tattooing in the shop, just after getting the invite, I told him, man, I got invited to Holland. We're thinking of going. I'm not sure if I want to go. And he was like, bro, if you want to go, just come live with us. I'm like, where do you guys live? He's like, well, we're visiting family here, but we live in Holland. I was like, really? Where in Holland do you live? He was like, we live in a town called Groesbeek. And when he said that, I was like, this is not coincidental. So I called my wife. I'm like, babe, we're going to Holland. And we did. Man, that is where one of the biggest mind shifts in my brain happened. Leaving the country for the first time ever, man, opened up so many avenues. I was like, wait, I don't have to live and die in South Africa. I can travel. It's not that hard. It's hard because we have to do visas and stuff. It's not like an American or a British passport where you can just get on a plane and go.
Really?
We have, we have
Is
to.
it still that way?
Yeah, it's still that way. You
can't just like go?
No, we can't just go. We have to apply for visas and pay money for it, and they have to approve us. But when you have a United States passport or a British passport, you get on a plane and you go.
Yeah, I'm using mine Sunday.
Yeah.
Get on boat.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah, no, we have to apply for visas.
Wow.
So the whole process went, and when I came back, I changed the name of my tattoo studio that was Wet Ink Tattoos. I changed to House of Holland Tattoo Emporium. And that is where House of Holland Tattoo Emporium was born. And I was in pursuit of that ever since.
So a couple of things. One, and just talking to you, and I find this with a lot of entrepreneurs, it seems to be a recurring theme, and I've said it a bazillion times. But there's a guy who wants to do something. He just has this, I'm going to do this. And so he goes for it. He just like, I'm doing it. Like, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it, whatever it is, you know?
Yeah.
But he doesn't, whatever trials and difficulty and obstacles come in, he doesn't quit. He just keeps going. And along the way, you meet somebody that helps you refine this, and then you meet the next person, but you just keep going.
Yes.
And that's got to be like the number one lesson from an entrepreneur with now experience owning House of Holland Tattoo Emporium, to any budding entrepreneur listening to this. I mean, in my opinion, and I've experienced that myself with Sunday afternoon smokes and the cigar box. It's just, I don't know.
It's doing that first step. Concentrate on that first step. And when you put that first step down, concentrate on the next one and the next one. Just put one foot in front of the other and keep going. That's all you can do at the end of the day. And as long as you do those micro improvements,
yeah,
you're going to look back in 2, 3, 4 years and look back and like, I came so far. You know, I covered so much ground. I had a client, this is a funny story. I had a client texting me, and she was like, hey, I've got a tattoo that I want to cover up. Would you do that? I was like, yeah, send me the photo. So she sent me the photo, and I looked at this tattoo, and I was like, man. I went to my wife, I'm like, babe, look at this. And my wife was like, babe, you know what? These people, they always get the worst tattoos, and then you have to end up covering it up. And, you know, just, I wish people would do their research and just get proper tattoos. And I was like, yeah, man, I don't know why people do this. So I text this client back, and I was like, hey, who did this tattoo for you? And she was like, don't you remember me? I was like, hold on. She was like, yeah, I was your first female client that you've ever tattooed. And
wow.
It came to me, and I was like, oh, I did this. I remember I did this. I did it in one of my friend's kitchen. And I was like, listen, come through to the studio. I'll cover it up for free. And it is, you know what, seeing that improvement.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, you know, it's been a journey.
Yeah.
So
that's hilarious. So what happened at the convention in Holland that changed how you think? Well, a couple of questions.
Go for it.
Number one, what was your point of view? What happened there, and how did you see things when you left?
So upon arrival, there was big differences between Holland, obviously, and South Africa. South Africa is in very dire straits. They in a very bad place. So I was used to potholes and dirty streets. I grew up essentially what you guys will call a hood here, right? Like we grew up in a rough part. So getting into Holland, everything was clean and everything was functioning and beautiful, and there wasn't crime. In the town, the small town Groesbeek, people, it was just going out of winter into spring, but it was still very cold. Old people will leave their cars running outside of the grocery store to keep it warm inside. So they'll leave their cars running with the keys inside and just go shopping for an hour, 2 hours, and the car doesn't get stolen. And I was like, where I'm from, your stuff gets stolen behind burglar proofing and electric fences, and so it was so strange. And I was like, what a way to live. This is such a different lifestyle. Getting to the tattoo convention, I was flabbergasted, because I wasn't, compared to all the other artists there, I wasn't very good. And so I met all these incredible artists, and I was asking questions, and they were very open with knowledge. And they were like, oh yeah, if you want shading like this, you got to do this. And if you do color blends, you got to do this. And if you want smooth tones, oh, do this. And if you want to do opaque. And so they were just spitting information, and I'm trying to be a sponge, just trying to absorb everything, right? And I was like, this is so different. We don't have conventions like that in South Africa. And if there is conventions, it's very gate kept, right?
Correct.
So yeah, they gatekeepers, and they don't want people to know. And so I was like, man, this is incredible. And everyone was welcoming and friendly, and the Dutch people are just phenomenal, friendly people, man. They just the nicest, friendliest people on earth. So I was like, man, I want this. I want to experience more of this, because I'm not used to it. And now I'm getting paid in euros. I'm making money on a convention that I would have never made in South Africa. I'm like, this is such a strange feeling, and everything's available. And it was just, I told my wife, like, I want more of this.
Wow. That's not what I expected you to say. I expected you to talk about your profession. The tattoos, it wasn't about that. It was about life. And
yes,
it was about a better standard of living for you and for your family.
Yes, and the way people treated you in a different country. It reminded me of when Jesus said, you will never be accepted in your homeland, right? You will never be accepted.
Yeah, prophet's not without honor except for in his own house and his own.
There we go.
Yeah.
And that's how I felt. I was like, these people are just spitting information and trying to help me grow, and they're not gatekeeping, and just everything's different, and there's no crime. And I was this funny. On the first night, we had a Friday, Saturday, Sunday convention. On the Friday, obviously, I packed everything out early in the morning, started tattooing. After the whole day, and I was doing a lot of tattoos there, I started packing up all my machines, because I want to take them home, right? Because I don't want to have them stolen. Where I'm from, you lock everything.
Yeah.
So as I'm packing up, everyone around me looks at me very strangely, and someone calls the organizer of this convention. And the organizer comes to me, is like, hey man, is everything okay? Like, why are you leaving? I'm like, oh, no. I'm done for the day. Aren't we, like, locking up? He's like, yeah, but why are you packing up? I'm like, oh, I just don't want people to steal it. And he gently touched my shoulder, and he was like, look around you. And as I looked around me, people left their iPads and their computers and everything just out there. Nothing was packed up. I'm like, why don't people pack up this? He's like, no one will steal it. It's safe. And I was like, what?
You don't even do that here in America.
Yeah, I was like, what, you don't pack your stuff away? He was like, no, just leave it. Man, I went home that night and I told my wife, like, this is the strangest feeling. The experience, just the whole setup was very unfamiliar to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And it made such a big impact.
Right. So when you get ready to make a move from South Africa, why do you come to the United States instead of going to Holland?
That is a great question. I guess I have to be careful how I say it, because I don't want it to sound, it's very pure and comes from a very kind place in my heart. I've always been, I feel like I've always been a redneck.
Come on, man. I love rednecks.
That was born in South Africa. I like V8s. I like America. I like firearms. I just love the American culture.
Yeah.
And I've had many debates about people, because I've heard things like, oh, America doesn't have a culture. Excuse me, bro? Have you ever been to America? They have plenty of culture.
Come put some Southern barbecue in your mouth.
Yeah, dude. And you know what? I visited here in 2019. And when I visited here, my mind was blown. For a whole different reason, it was blown, like, for instance, in Holland.
Sure.
And I was
blown how?
You're gonna laugh. This is the first thing I saw. I could take my wife to a different restaurant every single night here in Greenville. And for the next year and a half, we'll eat every night at a different restaurant. And for the next year and a half, we won't eat at the same restaurant. And we will not even have covered ground of all the restaurants in Greenville and the surrounding areas. I was like, why? I went to a steakhouse and they had options upon options. They even had options for fries. And I was like, who has options for fries?
America.
America does. Because there's one thing Americans love, and that's options. Do not let America not have options. That's their right to have options. And I was just like, you know what? They drive big trucks. They have this culture about them that I really fell in love with. And when I came back from my trip here in 2019, I said to my wife, we're moving there. And she was like, why there? Why not Holland? I was like, there. That's where I want to be. I want to be between the Southerners, the Americans. I met a great, who's now one of my bestest friends, Ben Moses. He lives out here in Pickens. We felt right at home. And when we moved here 3 years ago, we felt at home. Now having to go back to South Africa, we're in a strange place where we're like, it's familiar, but it's not home. It's not nostalgia. It doesn't give us nostalgia.
Yeah.
It's familiar. And I'm like, going back to South Africa now gave me an even bigger appreciation for America. And it makes me sad that Americans do not understand how blessed they are.
Oh my gosh, man! Well, I was going to say, in the middle of all that, I would love for a week or two just to go back with you and just troll around South Africa and check it out. I've been outside the country on several occasions. I've been to Costa Rica. I've been to Prague. I've been to London. I've been to Scotland. I've been to St. Lucia and to the resort at Sandals, which is nice, but you have to drive through the island and see how the people live there. and I don't understand. I love my country, and just listening to you talking, so I'm sure you noticed I had tears in my eyes.
Yeah. I was trying to not tear up.
Yeah, it makes me swell with pride. Like, I love my country, man. I love it. And to all the people here that seem to hate it, I don't understand, but most of those people have never been anywhere else.
Yeah.
Go out, and by the way, if you want to gain a really great appreciation for America, don't visit Paris. Don't visit, don't visit London.
No.
Don't, like, go to some broke place.
Yeah.
And see how most of the world lives.
Yes.
If you live in the United States, and by the way, I'm not discounting people that live here who have it hard.
Because there is hardships in any country. There is, correct.
There is. Just because you live in America doesn't mean if you're having a sucky time that it doesn't suck.
Correct.
It sucks. But that being said, we are absurdly blessed.
Yes.
Absurdly blessed. My mom and dad just got back from a 3-week trip into Europe and Rome and the UK, and he was saying, we gripe and complain here. We think things are expensive here. No. He's like, he said, I bought, we go to the gas station, you'll buy 2 16-ounce Cokes for like $4. He said, I bought 2 of those over there, $9.
Yeah.
It's bananas.
Yeah.
It is utter madness.
Correct. South Africa now, our exchange rate is about 16 Rand 50 to 17 Rand for $1. Right, so 17 to 1, give or take. Our fuel prices now, when you convert it, is just over $7 per gallon. And this is in a third world country where the economy is bad. Our middle class is deteriorating. There's almost no middle class anymore. So you are either poverty line or you in the 1%. So America has its problems. And I'm not saying America is perfect.
Every country has problems.
Correct. It's how big the problems is and how deep you are in the manure of that country. Every country has its crap, right? But it's the depth that differs. And I think people don't realize that always. And I'm not saying, like, we know there's hardships everywhere. So I'm not discounting anyone's hardships.
Yeah.
I, though, as an outsider, found solace and peace here.
That makes me so happy.
In a country that wasn't supposed to be my own, right? But I was welcomed as one of their own.
I will say to them that we're not my people. You are my people. That's Hosea.
Yeah.
Yeah. You are. I mean, like, I met you briefly when you came over and when I recorded with Duncan, and I thought you were a pretty cool guy. We get to sit here and chat. And I don't know you well, but just listening to you talk and your attitude, like, I would be delighted to have you live next door to me.
Thank you.
I mean, honestly,
it'll be an honor.
By the way, the house is for sale.
Oh, really? Yeah. I'm trying to get back. We
want to go. You're welcome to come smoke in here and hang out.
Thank you.
Live next door.
That would be great. You'll never get rid of me.
I'll just rent you the room. How about that?
Yeah, that's great. Excuse me. Yeah, we are trying hard to get back. We had some challenges arise. But that's the price of every good thing that you want. There's going to be challenges, and we take it.
Yeah. How much time do you have, man?
I have time.
Okay. we're gonna take a quick break. I think we may refresh the drinks, refresh the cigars.
Let's do it.
Yeah, we'll be back. This is a killer conversation. I can't stop. Can't stop. Won't stop. All right, we're back, man. We have refreshed the beverages. I've poured up some Aberlour 12-year Scotch. I think Redbreast 12.
Yes, sir.
Irish whiskey. You've got Cro-Magnon cigar.
Very good.
And I've got Ghost Malone.
That is funny. That's great.
Yeah,
Love it.
this is Ghost Malone. I think I would like, forgive me if you look at this, cigar manufacturers. If I'm not mistaken, that is by Foundation Cigars, and I think this is by Ezra Zion, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, or maybe Nomad, but I think as Nomad and Ezra Zion are intertwined. But so we're back. Cigars refreshed, adult beverages refreshed. We're rolling on Sunday afternoon smokes, talking about South Africa, America, your choice. You know, I was very curious about what a wonderful experience you had in Holland, why you chose America.
Yeah.
And you explained it well. And in the break, I was telling you that, like, I'm an American. I was born in America. America's all I know. I'm American born and bred. And when I die, I'll be American dead. You know what I mean? And I'm sure most of my audience is American. So we have no idea what it's like to try and immigrate here. What's that process like?
That is a very loaded question. So,
well, I'm
correct.
comes
Yes.
from a guy that has no idea. So I'm not loading it on purpose.
No. Because you don't know if you don't know, right? And thank you for the question. It's a great question, and I think it's a question that not very many people ask. You know, what's the immigration process like? I am number one, and I need to say this, I want to say this, I am very for strict immigration policies. I think it's very important for every country to have very strict immigration policies.
I agree.
And I'll tell you why. I have spent, number one, a lot of money to be here. I think when you spend a lot of money to be here, you appreciate it more. You appreciate the opportunities more. Now, I know there's instances like we can call it either refugee or relocation programs where people leave their home country behind to start new here. And that's a whole different process that comes with a whole different set of hardships. When you come into the country or want to come into the country on a work visa or something like that, that is a whole different ballgame. So you get so many different types of visas. So let me explain to you the visa that I came on here in 2022. So what I did was a O1 visa. So a O1 visa, it sounds more special than what it is, but it's called a special ability visa. So you have to prove that you have a special set of skills that you want to use in said country, for instance, the United States. Now, that is very hard to prove when you're a tattoo artist. How do you prove you have an extraordinary ability when there's so many incredible artists out there? I mean, I'm not even ranked when it comes to incredible artists, right? But we had to kind of prove that I am above average. Now, first of all, you have to have a really good lawyer, an immigration lawyer that specializes in a specific set of section in that immigration law. So the lawyer that I had specialized in O1. Now you get lawyers that specialize in the E visas, you get lawyers that specializes in the L visas, and it's a very tedious process. I don't just call up and, hey, I want to come to America. No. It's a month. It takes a couple of months to get everything in order. to be able to even submit it for approval. So the visa that I did took about 9 months to do, 7, 8, 9 months, thereabouts, to get all the paperwork and everything right. And then it's the money that goes involved, and it's an incredible tedious process. And then you have to get approved. And once you get approved, you have to go to the consulate in South Africa, the American consulate, and then you get interviewed there, and they ask you questions on why do you want to come here, and they ask you questions about your visa. Do you know something about your visa? So it's a lot of hard work. You know, as an American or a European, a British person, for instance, it's much easier to get those. But when you come from a third world country, any third world country, or any other country except Britain or the United States or whatever, then it's very hard to get in. Not impossible, but it is extremely hard, and it's a tedious process with you. It's hard.
Sure.
Yes. And
well, and to be honest, and it'll jive with what you said. Like, I'm glad for that.
yeah,
It should not be easy to get into America,
100% agreed.
and it should not be easy to get into any country. Like you said, every country
Yes.
should have. As an American, like I don't have a problem with people coming here. Just do it the right way. And of course, like, there are special circumstances, like if you're legitimately persecuted, or like, we could go on a whole rabbit trail.
Yes.
Like, if you're legitimately persecuted and you live in South Africa, there's a lot of places closer.
Yeah.
You could go to somewhere else. I don't know why America has to be the catch-all for the whole world. We can't support the whole world.
Yes. And I agree with you 100%. I do understand why people choose America, though.
So do I.
But I agree with you. You can't cater for the whole world. I do believe it's very important for every country to cater for your people first.
Absolutely.
Period. And I'm saying this as an outsider. I'm not benefiting anything from saying it, but I do believe America should be for America first. And
It makes total sense.
Yeah.
Like, South Africa should be for South Africans first.
which they are not, correct? Because they don't have a strict border policy. And that is the reason why they are, well, one of the reasons why they are in the hole that they are is because they do not have strict immigration policies.
Well, look, from an American to a South African who is trying to come to America the proper way, I appreciate that. And I have the utmost respect for you.
Thank you.
And I'm sure it'll work out. I hope it works out. Like a guy like you, based on everything that you've shared with me and told me, and we have some mutual friends who have spent probably more time with you than I have, that can vouch for you. Like, your attitude and what you want to accomplish, you are going to be a positive addition to my nation. I'm all for helping people, but I don't want to sustain millions of people that are going to come here and suck our resources and not add anything positive.
Agreed. Can I say something on that? I think the biggest problem that immigrants have, well, that I have with immigrants in the United States as an immigrant or trying to become an immigrant, is people forget that you in America, you can't force people to accept your culture. You now have to adapt your culture to the American culture. And I think a lot of people don't do it. They come in with the mindset, well, I'm here from another country. You will respect my culture, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's not how it works. You in America, you respect the American culture first, right? I'm not saying lose your culture.
Well, that's the thing about America. Like, and look, correct me if I'm wrong. If I were to go to South Africa, I don't know, I would presume it's heavily South African.
No.
Well, what I'm saying is, like, you can come to America and find all the cultures, right? There's American culture in itself, but you'll find like the Chinatowns, and you'll find like, the Mexican markets, and you'll find and so we don't necessarily want you to erase what you're bringing. We want you to adopt our values.
Yes. I think it becomes a mutual respect. Respect our culture because you came to the United States in the first place. Respect our culture. Yes. Bring your culture. Do your culture.
I don't know any American that doesn't like Mexican food. If we were just wiping out every culture, there would be no great Mexican restaurants.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So
exactly.
It's like, it's okay to bring your culture, but you can't crap all over America.
Agreed.
After you've shown up.
I want to say something, and if it's controversial, please cut this out.
I don't cut things on my show.
Okay. Then I'm sorry if some people will find this offensive. And I'm very passionate about it. If you immigrate to the United States, the only flag you should raise and fly is the American flag. That's my opinion. It might not be a popular one, but that's what I feel. That's what I believe. If you want to fly your country only, then go to your country. That's my opinion.
I'm from Texas. I love Texas. I'm Texas through and through. I live in South Carolina. I would never fly a Texas flag in my front yard. I might put one up inside my house.
Yes.
That's me.
Yeah.
But I would never fly a Texas flag outside. I don't live in Texas.
Yes.
And so, like, if you want to put up your Mexican flag, your Irish flag, your whatever flag, that's cool. Put it up inside your house.
Yeah.
Fly the American flag outside.
I 100% agree with you. I just do. I have many South African friends that lives in the United States. And you know what's great about them? They fly the American flag and they'll put their South African flag somewhere small on their car or in the house.
Yeah.
Because they're still proudly South African, but they're very proudly American. They're proud of their heritage and where they come from, but they are proud to be where they are now.
Yeah.
And for the opportunities that America gave them, right? So that's my opinion on it. It might be controversial.
It's a good opinion.
I think so.
Much respect. So you show up in 2022 on a visa,
yes.
a O1 visa,
O1 visa,
O1 visa, and then you hit a snag and get deported. Or was it deported or what?
So they didn't want to renew my visa.
Why not?
Because
you don't have to talk about it.
Someone reported me for owning illegal firearms, which I never did. I own firearms, but they were all legally purchased at reputable places with the proper legal documents, done FBI background checks, everything. So they didn't want to renew my visa for that. So we have to go back to South Africa. On the day that we find out that our visa is not going to get approved, my mother calls me. This is maybe 40 seconds after I put the phone down with my lawyer. Not even a minute. My mother calls me. Now, me and my mother it was a Saturday. Me and my mother have a agreement that I call her on Sundays, right? Because then Sundays I'm off so I can speak to her. So I knew something was wrong. When I picked up the phone, my mother told me that my oldest brother, Johan, passed away. And that was one of the darkest days of my life. This happened on the 1st of November last year.
I'm sorry, man.
And I'll never forget it. I had a full day client. I just went and sat outside on the table, and I put my hand in my hair and I said to God, I have no idea what's happening and why it's happening. And I had to stay quiet for a few minutes outside and try to gather myself, right? Because now I still have a full day client. It's like 12 in the afternoon. I still have another 6-7 hours to tattoo, and I have to give my client the best work that I can give him. And you know us men, we try and not get emotional about things, but it's hard not to get emotional about knowing that you're about to have to take your family back to a country that you don't want to be in. You receive very dark news for your family. And it's one thing to lose a brother, but I was thinking in that moment that my mum just lost a son, right? And I don't think any parent should lose their children.
That's heartbreaking.
Yeah, like it's... So I stood up and I went back in and I started tattooing. And Kevin, one of my dearest friends here and one of the artists in my studio, came into my booth and he looked at me. He was like, "Hey man, what happened? What I can see in your face, I can feel it in your spirit, something's wrong. What's happening?" So, I told him. And we took a moment to just think about it and pray about it. So by the end of November, we had to leave. So we were trying to fight it from the beginning of November till the 3rd week in November. We were trying to fight it and trying to have them reconsider it, sending in all the proof, but there was no investigation done whatsoever. So essentially, we got a letter from the USCIS saying that this was the Monday, we got a letter from them on the Monday afternoon saying that we have to leave the country by that Friday. So now we're in a situation where I have to tell my wife and kids that, listen, we have 3 days to pack up a life that we've built for ourselves here in 3 years. We have to pack it up and go back. Needless to say, they didn't take it too well. So luckily we've had some amazing friends and people that we've met and built relationships here, and everyone chipped in and everyone helped, and not only their time, because nothing is more valuable than time, just helping us, coming to our house, helping us pack up, but financially as well, because now we have to buy plane tickets for 4 people, and plane tickets in such a short notice to South Africa is quite expensive. So long story short, we had some incredible people helping us in that. So now we're back in South Africa. We don't want to be there. Now we're starting life again. So let me give you some background. When I came to the United States in November of 2022, I had, and I do mean nothing, I had the suitcase with my clothing. My other suitcase had my tattoo equipment in. And I had $60 in my wallet. I have a very beautiful, great friend, Philip Satterfield, that him and his wife was willing to... I came alone first. They opened up their house to me, and I lived with them for 5 months, 6 months. for me to find my feet, right? And so I lived with him, and I worked hard and sent money back home, and still trying to save money to buy plane tickets for the wife and the kids, trying to get a house, but now it's hard because you still have to get a social security number, but you don't have a credit score. So how do you rent a house without a credit score? And you can't have a car because you need a credit score. And so it was that 6 months was extremely hard work, right? So I did have a lot of support at the studio that I was working at the time. They were very supportive in that time period and helping me. Just again, we had such an amazing support group. Now fast forward, now we've built the studio. We have a house that we're renting. We have cars, for my wife's birthday. I was in the fortunate position of buying her a brand new car that I could have never done in my life, So I was 39 years old, I just turned 40, and I could buy my wife a brand new car, just living the American dream. Every weekend we go out to the Blue Ridge Mountains. That was our thing. We go to the Blue Ridge Mountains, we hike, I went with Ben Moses, we did some hunting. He took me proper hunting, like actually walking like 4 miles into the woods trying to get a deer, and then you have to pack the deer on your back and walk it out. And so just had some incredible experiences here. And now we have to start life over in South Africa again with nothing. So let's fast forward to February of this year. I had to come and visit to make sure that everyone in the shop is doing good, and have a meeting with my business partner, figuring out what we're going to do, how we're going to get back. Well, I got detained at the Charleston airport when I came in, and the Department of Homeland Security officers took me to the back room. They're like, "Sir, you cannot come into this country." And I was like, "Why not? I have a visitor's visa, and I've got a business. I have to." And they were like, No, because it shows on your record that you owned illegal firearms. And I was like, "But I didn't." So long story short, the DHS officer was like, "Sir, on a visa, you cannot own a firearm." And I was like, "Well, I respectfully disagree." And I went on their website, showed them that as a visa holder, if you can provide the following documentation, you are allowed to purchase legal firearms. And so for 3.5 hours, I was interrogated. And eventually, they cleared me. They were like, "Yes, you did everything 100% legal." And obviously, they cleared me and they allowed me into the country. And that's how I can be in the country on a visitor's visa, just making sure that, the studio is running smooth. We have a full house of artists, so they're going great. Everyone's phenomenal. But now we have to start the process again. And so we're back to square one, and that is where we are right now. Yeah, so
it doesn't just pick up where you left off.
No.
It's back to square one.
We got thrown down the mountain, and now we're looking at this mountain that we climbed, and we were nearly on the top, and now we have to do everything over again. But I'll tell you what, Chris, I will do it with a smile on my face.
I don't have any influence with anybody anywhere. I'm just a guy. But man, if I can do anything to help you, if I can write you a letter of recommendation, not that my word means a hill of beans to anybody, but seriously.
Well, I appreciate it. We will get there. We will get there. Spoke to the lawyer today, so we positive we'll get there.
Yeah,
I think there is some cracks in the immigration system. Like there should have been an investigation done.
Oh,
right.
Sure.
When an allegation like that is made towards a visa holder, I do believe, first of all, that's a serious allegation. And without facts, there should be investigations.
Well, should that, I mean, it should
Yes.
just be simple enough to check all your paperwork. Like, I filed this, I filled this out, I submitted it. Jack, ching, bada, bing. There it is.
Correct, and that's what I told the
Why is that
DHS
so
officer.
hard?
I said to him, I'm sure you have access to the FBI files to see if they did a background check on me, and they cleared me. And which they did. And I will say this, maybe someone had different experiences. But after 3.5 hours of interrogation by 4 or 5 officers,
It had to be unpleasant.
it was slightly unpleasant. But you know what was amazing is afterwards, he said to me, I do apologize for keeping you here for 3.5 hours. I know it wasn't fun, but I want to thank you for your patience and your kindness, and we do apologize for the inconvenience. And I was like, you know, if you get treated like that, I'll sit for another 3 hours, you know. It was cool.
So I'm curious as to now. I mean, obviously, you love America. You love American culture.
Yes.
This is your home. In your heart, this is your home.
100%.
You know, what, and you could probably speak for South Africa in some regard. What is their opinion of Americans versus, but you're here at the table getting the real view.
So there's two opinions. Those who've been here and those who haven't. So those who haven't been here, I'm going to say it, and they're like, oh, well, Americans are dumb and all they want is food and pharmaceuticals. That's all they want. For those who've been here, are like, Americans are phenomenal people. When you meet great people, they're friends for life. They have a great culture. It's God, country, and friends and friendships and family. So there's two different opinions. Those who've been here and those who haven't. And every single person I know that has been here want to be here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Like, there's jerks everywhere. Everywhere.
And I've met them here.
Sure. But I have to believe that Americans, by and large, are very friendly people.
100%. Yes, 100%. Like, I've met, I would say 99.9% of Americans that I've met have been incredible towards me and towards my family. They've been gracious. They've been compassionate. They've been just amazing towards us. So I've never had anyone telling me, oh, immigrant. Out of a joke, they have plenty of times, but I mean, we live in a tattoo shop, like, we spend a lot of time there, and you know, but it's largely been very supportive.
Yeah. Well, next time you're back, and hopefully next time you've got your wife and kids in tow. You know, I don't know. We'll see. But next time you come back, you let me know, because you're coming here for dinner.
Fantastic. I would be honored to be here for dinner. Yeah,
for dinner and for a cigar and a drink and
I appreciate that.
What I have no idea what South Africa is like. I have no idea what South Africans are like.
So I'll say this. Listen, South Africa is not all bad, and I don't want to sit here and make it sound like it's all bad.
Sure.
South Africa is one of the most beautiful countries you'll ever visit. And you'll visit places with the most incredible, amazing people you'll ever meet in your life. It's a phenomenal country. It's with phenomenal people. But unfortunately, it is run by selfish, greedy, incompetent people.
It sounds a lot like Americans as far as government goes.
I think I will not give my opinion on the government, because I do want to come back.
Yeah, sure.
I can speak on the South African government. I think the advantage that America has is that your presidency and your leaders can only stay here for 2 terms. And that's something that South Africa doesn't have. So when someone gets into office and they're bad, they can be bad for the next 32 years, you know?
Right.
And unfortunately, that is a big problem. And obviously corruption, you know? And listen, I think we all know that every politician can be corrupt in some form or another. Someone will steal a little bit off the top. But once you steal so much that your country goes down, like it's a problem.
Well, but that's the default position for humanity.
Yes.
You can be a corrupt tattoo artist. You can be a corrupt cigar salesman. You can be a corrupt doctor. It doesn't matter. That's the human problem that Jesus is fixing. If you're willing to receive him.
If you're willing to allow it and receive it.
Yeah,
yes. Yeah. So, but here's what I tell people. Especially here, go visit South Africa. They've got incredible food. Trust me, they've got incredible food, incredible experiences.
So when you came here in 22 to set up shop, you came to Greenville.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you lived here for how long until you had to go back?
3 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
If after this show wraps, we're going to be like, all right, man, we're going to go out and grab some fast food. What's your spot? Fast food chain.
Waffle House.
Shut up. Really?
100%. Like, I've been to almost every, I won't say every joint, but I've been to most places. And let me tell you something about Waffle House. I've got a very deep emotional connection to Waffle House. And I'll tell you why. In my hardships, when I didn't have a lot of money, you know where I can go for food and fill my stomach for very cheap?
Yeah.
Waffle House. And after like 9 or 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, guess what joint I will find open where I can go sit and eat for cheap? Waffle House.
Yeah.
They've got the worst coffee, but I miss it. I miss sitting at Waffle House and drinking their horrible coffee in their very dirty diner.
Yeah.
And I do believe you should not have a clean Waffle House. If you walk into a Waffle House and it's clean, walk out. It's not a Waffle House. There's something not right with that.
Did you eat? I'm presuming that grits are not a thing in South Africa.
Actually, it is the biggest thing in South Africa.
Really? So you were all on grits before you came to the South?
Oh, 100%.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. We do have a different way of grits. So our grits are much more finer grind, and we cook it in like 3 different ways. We cook it as a porridge, kind of, you know, like where it's like more of a breakfast where you mix butter and sugar in it. Phenomenal.
I never put sugar in my grits. Just salt and butter.
Oh, no, you should definitely eat grits with, it's phenomenal as a breakfast. And then when we make it a different way where it's not as porridge, it's more like stiffer. And then we eat it with like gravy and meat and sausage.
So salt and butter, maybe bacon bits if you have them, or throw them in, or shredded cheese, cheesy grits.
Yes.
Eggs over easy with hot grits over the top.
Oh, yes.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Shut
up. Oh, yeah.
Free, like biscuits and gravy. God bless America, man. It's so good.
For food, man.
Yeah, we might have to go to Waffle House after we wrap and just hang out some more, you know.
Oh,
my wife's going to be crashed out in bed. But no, that's awesome. Like America is, man, it's a wonderful place.
It is. It is. I had a friend. You know where the first place is where when I picked my family up at the airport in end of March 2023, when I picked him up at the airport on our way. So I picked him up in Atlanta. As we drove, the first place I took them to eat was a Waffle House. That's the first place we stopped. When one of my friends came to visit me, that's the first place I had them try out. And this one friend, Jacques, that helped me become a better tattoo artist. Now, he's a punk rock guy. He's hardcore, old school punk rock, right? Like, I'm not talking about a poser. He's real punk rock. Dude, when we walked in the Waffle House, man, it was the hand of God in that meeting, because we walked into the dirtiest Waffle House that you could find. You could see the old food underneath the counters. Yeah. Like, it was a beautiful sight. And you know what Jacques told me? Man, I feel at home, dude. I feel at home. I want to live here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, yeah, I think that's why Waffle House has a special, it's in my heart, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk, all right, man, let's get into, I mean, we've spent so much time exploring a lot of different things, and I'm down with it. I'm loving every minute of this, but let's get into tattoos. It's what you do.
That's one of the things I do, yes, yeah.
That's true. But before we get into House of Holland, I do want to take a minute to explore a little bit of difference between tattoo culture, what you're doing in America, and what people are looking for versus what's going on in South Africa. Like what, and by the way, I have no clue. I don't have any tattoos. I don't know anything about tattoos.
So I will say, American culture when it comes to tattoos is phenomenal. It's a great culture. The tattoo culture in America is incredible. Now, obviously, you do, like everything, have your weird bad spots, but overall, it's a great cultural experience. When you see another tattoo dude, you'll be like, "Yeah, what's up, man? Digger tattoos," and you'll be like, yeah, you instantaneously click with that person. I would say the walk-in culture for tattoos, or Friday the 13th, we do a lot of events out at House of Holland tattoos that, we have Friday the 13th events. And our first Friday the 13th event went way better than we anticipated. So we anticipated, we'll get about 60 people if we're lucky in the door. If it goes really well, we'll get 60 people in the door. And we ended up with about 400 people coming through the door in 2 days.
Wow.
It was a nightmare.
It's Friday the 13th, man. The beautiful Krueger nightmares.
Yeah, it was. We weren't prepared for it. It went horribly wrong in so many ways, but it was just, the support was phenomenal. Now, when we do a Friday the 13th event in South Africa, it's a whole different story. But again, I think the economy has a lot to do with it, because tattoos is a luxury at the end of the day. You do that with disposable income.
Correct.
With the economy not being great in South Africa, not everyone has that disposable income. So even if you do have a Friday the 13th event, you'll be lucky if 10 people show up. Maybe 20 people show up.
That's like a good day.
That's a great day. Yeah, that's a great day. Since I've been back in South Africa, I've done 5 tattoos.
Wow.
And that's in 5 months, yeah.
Sure. Well, whatever I asked you about tattoo culture, and that gives some insight as far as like the popularity and what's available, but I suppose I mean actual artistic work. Like, what are people requesting, and what are you doing there versus what you're doing here?
So there's some what we call American traditional artists in South Africa, but I think South Africa specializes more in like fine line, black and gray. Realism is more of our kind of thing. Where here in America, American traditional is the way to go, right? So when I came over as a realism artist, I had plenty of work, because it's not I wouldn't say it's not a popular style, but it's American traditional is the most popular style in America.
So this is something unique, not everybody has here. Like when you're bringing...
Correct. There are some phenomenal realism artists in America, like some of the best in the world, but it's a very niche market. right? There's plenty of American traditional tattoo artists here. Plenty.
I don't even know what that means. If you're going to do an American traditional tattoo, what are you putting on a person?
Thick lines, 4 colors. Easy. Thick lines, solid color saturation, just color packing, simplistic bangers, and it's an arm full of different style, like, different designs, and it's like what we call a patch sleeve, right? But it's the American way. It's the American culture, and when you look at bikers or metalheads or rockers or whatever, and even the normal everyday guy, American traditional is definitely the culture in America. We in South Africa, it's more fine line, realism, roses, statues, stuff like that. So it's very different. Yeah.
Yeah. Obviously, as I said, I have no tattoos. I'm a blank slate. You see my room. This is obviously I did everything in here. So this is an expression of me.
Correct.
If I said, Armand, I want you to give me a half sleeve on the left arm from the elbow to the wrist, you have what we would call dealer's choice or artistic freedom.
Yes.
Do whatever you want. Knowing my vibe, what are you putting on? What are you going to ink me up with?
Because I know your character and your identity, it will be something that represents your faith in Christ. That is what I would put on you. Because that's your identity, right? That's something that would have longevity in you. You will look at that sleeve and it will represent Christ for you and your faith in Christ and the love of Christ. That is what it would represent. So I won't. And here's the thing. I like to talk my clients more out of tattoos than getting tattoos, because I do believe that it's important when you get a tattoo that you don't regret it in 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, right? And so, for instance, I won't put a cigar on you. And although you might smoke cigars for the next
I wouldn't want a cigar.
50 years, exactly. But I know one thing is that your love in Christ is way deeper rooted than anything else in your life.
Yeah.
And so it will be something that represents that.
Yeah. I cannot guarantee this, but it is a hope. I do hope there's cigars in heaven when we get to the hereafter. I hope. Probably not, but I hope.
Do you want to hear my opinion on it? And
Yeah.
again, it's an opinion. I will not say the person that quoted this, but religion is the blanket that we put over God to give him a shape.
I know who said that, but his name is skipping. I'm blanking. I know who said it, but
and you know what's beautiful about that? If I would tell you, explain God to me, you cannot explain him, right? We don't know much. We know very little. We know what God showed us, and when his son Jesus came, we know what Jesus said and what's his expectation of us. But when it comes to the year after, right? The life after this, because this is temporary. We know this is temporary. I think one thing that I'm very certain of is every one of us will have a huge surprise when we open our eyes in the year after, because it's not going to be anything what we expected.
Oh, not at all.
We might think we're going to just walk on streets of gold, but I think it's going to be more than that. I don't know. I think it'll be way bigger and more vast than we ever anticipated, and I almost have no doubt that we will smoke cigars. That's my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm down with it. So let's walk through House of Holland Tattoos. Where are y'all located?
We on 221 Pelham Road, Greenville,
Okay.
in Suite 101.
Yeah. So if I walk in the front door of House of Holland Tattoos, what am I looking at? What's the process? How am I going to be handled? Give me the experience.
You're going to walk in and first question, is this a tattoo studio? That's the first thing that's going to happen. You're like, is this a tattoo studio? Because it doesn't look like your typical tattoo studio. We don't have a bunch of flash on the walls. So what I wanted to do in House of Holland is, when you walk in, I want a professional, clean, welcoming, warm vibe and experience. And so we have separate booths, right, with barn doors slided closed. So when you walk into House of Holland, you're like, oh, this is clean, this is modern, this is beautiful. But then when you walk into every artist's booth, they decorated their booth according to their personality. And so you will walk into Kevin's booth and he'll just have American traditional pieces and flash art everywhere. Like top to bottom, ceiling to floor is just artwork of American traditional tattoos. You walk into Derek's booth, and Derek is a phenomenal realism artist, and he does a little neo-traditional art as well. But he's a simplistic guy, so there's almost nothing on his walls. And then you walk into Logan's booth, and he loves horror movies and horror themes. And that's what you'll see in his booth. And you'll walk into Hiccup's booth, and what you'll see in Hiccup's booth is she's a lady, so everything's pink and anime, and And then you walk in Cody's booth, and Cody is a proper redneck, like proper. So you'll see Dan is it Dan Earnhardt? Or what's his name? The NASCAR driver.
Oh, Dale Earnhardt.
There we go. That
Earnhardt.
Yeah, there we go. That dude. So you'll see a bunch of that on his wall, and
The Intimidator.
Yeah. And then you walk into Kenneth's booth, and you'll see this big portrait of him and his wife, and a big portrait of Jesus and the cross, the three crosses, because he's a big person of faith as well. And so when you walk in there, you'll find what you need.
Yeah.
And you'll be handled with care, and you can know that when you walk in there, every artist's objective is to give you the best tattoo that suits you and no one else. It suits you, your personality. They will spend time on getting to know you, what you want and how do you want it, and they will guide you in the right direction to get a tattoo that will last you your whole life and that you will never regret.
When you say that when you walk in, you'll be handled with care, that's a broad statement. What does that mean practically?
Can I give you an example?
Yeah, please.
So we a couple of owners in House of Holland, right? So I'm the tattoo artist owner. I've had the idea, the brain, and then we have two other business partners that knows business and financials, right? So one day, one of the other owners walks into the studio. He's never been in the studio when there was artists there. Never. He doesn't have tattoos, but he walks in and everyone greets him. I'm standing in the back of the shop talking to Kenneth, and he comes walking down. He's like, hey man, where's Armand? And so I just hear someone's asking for me, and and they start talking, and by the time he comes to where I'm talking with Kenneth in the far back booth, he looks at me and he was like, I've never been in a place where people treated me like they know me. None of these people know that I'm one of the owners, yet they treated me with respect. They asked me if I want something to drink, and they get me any drink, like, do I want a soda or water? Am I here to see someone specific? The way that we treat people is, even if you're not there to get a tattoo, you're going to feel welcome. Like, we have a restaurant next door, and sometimes they mistake us. I don't know why, because we have big signage on the door saying it's a tattoo studio. But sometimes the older people will not see it, and they will walk into the tattoo studio thinking it's the restaurant, and we'll just start talking to them. Hey, how are you doing today? And they'll end up talking to us for 15, 20 minutes, and they're like, oh, we're actually looking for the restaurant. Where's the restaurant? We're like, no, it's next door. So we love to talk to people. We love caring for people. We just love people, man. So it's an experience. It's gonna be a good experience.
Yes. I've learned that in certain businesses, and I know this because of my wife. So my wife, before her stroke, used to be a midwife. So she delivered babies exclusively at home.
Yeah.
You know, and there's quite a few midwives, and like when it comes to a service industry, there's something that's very important like that, or even a tattoo, because I'm putting something permanent on my body that I cannot get rid of later. So a lot of it has to do with, I feel a really good personal connection with this person, this artist. It was the same way in her industry. Now, you've talked about all the people that have booths and how they decorated their booth. And it seems to me, obviously, that their booth is decorated in a sense that speaks to their craft. Like,
yes.
Like, this lady's really good at, like you said, anime and da-da-da. And this guy, like, if you want a redneck tattoo, he's going to, like, crush it.
Yes.
How do you, and so I presume if somebody comes in and wants, they describe to you what they want, it sounds super redneck, well, I'm going to send them to this guy.
Yeah.
However, how does that work? And I don't know, maybe how they get to talk to more than one person, but it's like, what happens if I feel like I have a really good connection with you, but what I want falls in this guy's wheelhouse, skill set wise? You know what I mean?
100%. So we've had clients that are like, actually, you know what? I really connected with Kevin, but Kevin specializes in traditional. That's what he does. But I want Kevin to do this tattoo, but it's more realism. Then I'm like, great, go with Kevin, because here's what's going to happen. Kevin's going to come to me. He's like, Armand, he's got this idea. Do you want to sit in with us while we discuss this? I'm like, yeah. So what we'll do, and every artist does that, if that happens, is we'll actually sit with each other, discuss the idea, and help that artist to give the best version of that tattoo that they can give that person. That's what we do. We don't gatekeep our styles. In fact, we encourage the artist to learn everyone's style to the best of their abilities. So that when there's a client that really connects with Cody, for instance, but he wants a Kevin style, that Kevin and Cody will kind of collab on it in a sense where they talk about it and they help design it according to what is best for the client. So there's no egos. We don't do well with egos. And that's how we would approach it. We will just help them develop the art for the artist that's best suited for them when they click with them.
Yeah.
And we'll craft it according to that.
That's fantastic, because it's all about the person.
Yes.
Coming in, like they come in, they want X, and I want them to leave fulfilled.
100%. 100%.
And I think but you did say something on break, and I want to circle back to it because it's super important. Or maybe it was on break, or maybe it was before we started. I don't know, but you made the statement that, like, the tattoos that you do at House of Holland, your artists, obviously you've got people with skill there. They know what they're doing.
100%, yeah.
But it's not just about the tattoo. It's about the experience that you get when you come to House of Holland.
Even more so, yeah. So I believe that you can give someone the best, most incredible tattoo, a phenomenal tattoo, but a bad experience, and they'll never come back to you. Or you can give them a good or a great tattoo with a phenomenal, great experience, they'll always come back to you. Because it's the experience. You connect with the person. They're like, listen, dude, there might be better people out there, but I don't want to go to better people. I want to go to my people, the ones that I connected with. And so by the time you get your second tattoo, you like family in the shop. So we have so many clients, and I do mean hundreds of clients, that will come into the studio just to come say hi. So the studio is always packed. Even though they don't get tattooed normally, like there's always people there because they feel at home and they feel connected with. And for me, that's important.
No, it's super important. And I talk a little bit about like what it means to me to have somebody come sit in this chair that you're sitting.
Yes.
It's not just a show. I mean, it is being recorded and it's going to go out into the universe in X amount of time. But to me, it's more than that.
Yeah.
It's very personal. This is in my house. We're sharing cigars. We're sharing drinks. You're going to sign my guest book. It's, I can offer you specialized cigar mouthwash at the end of the night if you like, to help cleanse your palate. Like,
that's cool. Yeah, I didn't know that existed.
It does. I have some in the cigar box trailer. It's from a company called Cigargle. And it's
what a great name,
isn't it? Yeah,
what a phenomenal. Can I say something?
Yeah,
Americans come up with the best business names ever. Like no one does names like Americans. I love it. It's the best. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cigargle is a cigar company. Like I said, I have some in the trailer that they formulated a mouthwash specifically designed to deal with cigar mouth. And I've used it, and it works phenomenal. It's like
I need to get some.
Yeah, we'll rinse after the show. Hey, Cigargle, if you want to partner with Sunday Afternoon Smokes, let me know.
There we go. Yeah, they should. They 100%.
So you're working on making your way back to America.
Yes.
Obviously, you're one of the owners of House of Holland.
Yeah.
You're the brain.
Yes.
As you said,
the founder, shall we call it?
Yeah. You're the founder of House of Holland Tattoos. So when you finally get back here, and you're going to, man,
100%. Yeah. That's guaranteed. Yeah.
So does Armand have his own booth and you're working, or is your job now I'm running the business, growing the business?
So yeah, it's funny. I don't have a booth anymore, which I'm totally fine with. So when I do come back, we planning to expand. We do, and I would like to have some South African artists come over because South African artists are phenomenal. So
like come over permanently, or just kind of like a special. There's a tour.
I would love to bring over South African artists permanently. And work for House of Holland, I think it'll be a great experience, and so maybe I will have a booth in the new upcoming shops that we're gonna set up, but for now I think I'll just be the business owner, and try expand the brand and run it so that the foundation is set right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and make sure that all the artists are comfortable, because I believe that if an artist has a comfortable environment to work out of, they're going to give their best work.
Sure.
So, and that's what we do. We make sure that the artists are very comfortable. So I'll just be that, I'll be the guy that makes sure everyone's comfortable.
Yeah. So growing up in South Africa, cutting your teeth in the tattoo industry in South Africa, is that realism is that your bread and butter, or like what's your style?
Yeah, so my style is definitely black and gray realism. That's what I would like to call specializing. So I like to do animal portraits, portraits, statues, stuff like that. I enjoy cover-ups. I do believe, humbly said, that I am very skilled and sufficient in cover-ups. So I enjoy doing challenging cover-ups on old tattoos that are horrible, and just put something brand new over it and you'll never see the old tattoo.
Yeah.
I really enjoy that. Yeah.
Sure. Well, look, man, I'm a blank canvas. I don't have any tattoos. I've thought about it for a long time. I've just never pulled the trigger on
Oh,
it.
really?
Yeah. But if I decide to, I've got to get you to do it.
Well, you got to look at my work first to make sure I'm a good artist. I think that's the first. What's the English word for it? The first. Help me out here.
Test?
The advice. There we go. Advice, such a simple word. The advice that I can give people is make sure that the artist you choose is a good artist. Do your research. Go to the Instagram page. Stalk them a little bit, see if they have healed work. There's incredible artists in Greenville. I'm obviously always going to promote my own studio, my own style.
Well, yeah.
But there is, even in Easley, one of I've met some great people here, and there's guys here in Easley at Crowned Ink. I think it's Crowned Ink. They are absolutely phenomenal at what they do. So do your research. Make sure that your artist is great. So,
well, look,
my advice to you is make sure that I'm a good artist.
But that's subjective, though. When you say my artist is great, because it's like, what is great? Isn't it more like I'm looking at this artist's work and I'm digging it? I like what they're doing.
Correct. I think the execution of the tattoo, you can do a very simplistic tattoo, but the execution has to be flawless and good. So you can do a stick man and you can get a bad stick man, or you can get a phenomenal stick man. And I think that is where your research comes in. Yes, you might not dig realism, and that's fine. You want traditional tattoos. Cool. Make sure your traditional artist knows how to pull a clean line and do color packing properly. So I think when I say good tattoos, it's not necessarily the style, it's the execution of that style. There's artists in this world that do they tattoo tacos on people? Tacos, because people love tacos. But make sure that the artist that does the taco can do a taco really well. And so it's all about the execution.
You should do a House of Holland tattoo that just spells out House of Holland, but it's like the same way Waffle House spells out Waffle House.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and start doing House of Holland tattoos on people and brand them, Maybe if someone gets a House of Holland tattoo, they get 40% discount on their next tattoo or something.
Yeah,
like that.
There you go. There you go. No, man, that's fantastic. I think probably my last question, and then we'll call it a night. You said something to me before the show. And I say before the show, I mean on your guest intake form. One of the things you think about is the question is, why are you you? Dive into that for me.
Did I give an answer on that?
No, that was the question.
That was the question. Did I answer it on the
You did not.
I did not. What makes me me? That is a beautiful question. So I know what's my identity. So first of all, I think Christ is the reason, number one, that I'm me. But with that, I couldn't have become who I am without my wife. She's been a rock and a rock star in my life, and such a big influence on who I am today. We've been together 25 years, married 15.
Congratulations,
Yeah.
man. That's awesome.
She's phenomenal. She's great. And to give you some insight on who she is, when I asked Jacques back in the day, listen, man, I need to improve my work. Would you help me improve my work? Jacques was like, cool, man, send me your work and I'll criticize it and I'll help you become better. I sent my work through to Jacques, and I won't quote him word for word because there was a lot of vulgar language in there. But here's the first thing that he asked me is like, first of all, why is your line work so bad? Why, second of all, is your shading so bad? And thirdly, your artwork and your composition is absolutely horrible. And I looked at this message. It was on WhatsApp, right? And I look at this message. Me and my wife are sitting in bed. It's late at night. And I feel my heart sinking just down to the ground. And I'm like, babe, look at this. And she was like, is he a good artist? I'm like, no, he's a great artist. And I showed her some of his work, and she was like, yeah, he's pretty incredible. And I was like, I don't know, like, I thought I was doing something right, and now I get this message. And I'll never forget my wife's words. She was like, well, you have one of two choices, babe. Either you learn or you go get a normal job. And I was like, I ain't getting a normal job again. And so I learned.
Yeah.
And that was my wife's advice. She was like, either you learn or go get a normal job.
She pushed you, man.
But choose, and choose now. And I was like, I think behind every phenomenal good man is a phenomenally amazing good wife. And I think what makes me, number one is Christ. Number two, that woman that I call my wife, my friend, she's amazing.
Yeah. That's awesome.
That's who I am.
Nice. Oh, one other thing before we go, we might as well shout him out here. Tell me about your t-shirt.
Dude, my brother is a genius. I'm not just saying he's one of the most incredible musicians I've ever known. And I'm not saying because he's my brother. He's an absolutely phenomenal musician. He's a great guitar player, great songwriter, but he can pick up any instrument and he can play it. And he plays it immediately. Just he's got that absolutely God-given talent just to be great at music. So he struggled for many years in the music industry, and a year or 2 years ago, he started diving into AI music. Now, I know there's big controversies about AI music, but what my brother did is he was like, hey, I'm going to experiment a little bit with AI music. And so what he would do is he wouldn't go into AI and be like, write me a cool song. He would be like, no. If I'm going to write a prompt, I'm going to do it great. So he would put a prompt into AI, be like, hey, this is the lyrics of my song. This is the chords that I wanted to composition it in. And this is the chorus chords, and this is the bridge chords, and this is the verse, and this is how I want it structured. This is the style that I want it in. This is the instruments. And so he would composition the whole thing like a composer, but just in the prompt of AI, and he would create songs. And so last year, December, his music just took off in South Africa. And it's called Bliksemstraat, which is Afrikaans for, I guess, direct translation would be Lightning Street. And And he has now over 25 million streams over all platforms, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, just incredible. And yeah, so he actually made me his brand manager. Now back in South Africa, I'm his brand manager and strategic partnerships. So I help him with his brand and building the brand and finding partnerships. And it's just been an incredible journey to work alongside my brother while in South Africa, trying to come back to the United States. It's just been an incredible journey.
And look, I don't know how the internet works between countries.
Yeah.
But can people here in the U.S. on Spotify or YouTube or wherever, can they access his music?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they can. Yeah, he's on Spotify. Just type in Bliksemstraat and you'll find his music. You can listen to it. It's in Afrikaans, so you won't understand a word he says.
Fine.
But it's great music. If you love EDM, that's what he does. He's more like EDM stuff now, which is Bliksemstraat.
Yeah, that's Blixmstraat.
Correct. Yes.
And we'll shout him, like we shout him out. I'll try and hunt him down on Instagram. We'll tag him in the episode and all
Fantastic.
that stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Yeah. So if you want to listen to it, I've played it to a couple of my American friends and they seem to love it. They listen now, they follow him, they subscribe to his YouTube music and his YouTube channel. So yeah, go check it out.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%, man. Dude, this has been a phenomenal conversation.
Man, I just had a great time sitting here talking to you, just getting to know you better, and just thank you for allowing me to be in your humble abode and in your personal space. It's been a fantastic evening.
It's been a pleasure.
Couldn't have spent it better.
Been a pleasure. We covered a lot. By chance, is there anything we did not hit on that you want to cover?
My friend, I think we covered all we needed to.
Okay. Really quick. That's House of Holland in Greenville.
Correct. Yes, sir.
The website?
We do have a website, House of Holland Tattoo or tattoos.com.
Yeah.
Yeah, just type in House of Holland Tattoos. We'll pop up immediately. We now ranked second best shop in Greenville, and we've only been going a year and a half.
Nice.
So we'll take the top spot end of this year, no doubt.
Absolutely. Instagram handle?
Yes, House of Holland Tattoos on Instagram, and we also have a TikTok.
Yeah, okay.
So and Facebook.
Yeah.
So go follow us on all platforms.
Yeah. And if people want to follow you,
ooh, that's a long one. Go on House of Holland and follow the guy with the long name, Armand Groesbeek, tattoo artist. I'm the guy with the longest name on there. Just give me a follow. That'll be great.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, look, I appreciate your time.
Chris, I appreciate you.
Yeah, this has been great. Thank you for watching and listening to Sunday Afternoon Smokes. By the way, the new website is live, sundayafternoonsmokes.com. So go check it out. There's all kinds of good stuff on there. And if you'd like to follow the show on social media at Sunday Afternoon Smokes, but if you'd like to support the show, the best thing you can do is just give us a follow like the episode, but share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it on your socials, and share it with the world, because Sunday Afternoon Smokes is really sweet. We'll talk to you soon.